All right, guys, I know I've talked about this a little bit before, but it's really time to start digging into this. How do you solve a problem like Gnaziri? Let's go take a look here and see what we've got. So here is Néné Gnaziri. He's our big signing from the last off-season. Actually, it was from before then. It was the transfer period before the big off-season. Didn't cost us anything as usual. And his contract, what are his contract details? Well, show me the contract details, please. Yeah, he's making 50 euros per week on his part-time contract. So he's not really making that much money. It's a very small percentage of our total budget, and we have all sorts of room in the wage bill, so there's nothing really to worry about there. The question is, how do you solve a problem like him, right? You're looking at this and you're thinking he has 10 goals and 3 assists in 9 matches, 7.47 average rating. What are you talking about? He's a fox-in-the-box striker, right, which we love. He's a maestro forward. Is able to create all sorts of space. Wouldn't you love to play with a player like this? Yeah, that's what you think until you take a look at his form, right? So this is all competitions. His form has been so inconsistent. We talked a little bit about this in the video before, right? If I show you here his form in the league, you'll see exactly what I said last time at that Tai Power match. He had a 6.3 rating. Had to come off against Taiwan Futuro. He had a 6.2, had to come off at halftime. And Hongyuan, he had a 6.2 and played the whole match, right? In the league, he has not scored since the Tainan City match. I mean, that was a long time ago, right? In game we're in July 18th, that match was on May 22nd. Right? I mean, so all 10 of those goals he scored not in 9 matches, they're actually in 6 matches. And when you realize that he didn't score against Athletic Club Taipei, and you realize that it was in 5 matches that he scored 10 goals, right? Talk about inconsistency and just streakiness, right? But if you look at this, it will tell you that he doesn't have a huge inconsistency problem. It might be that, the consistency rating might be like 10 or 9 or even 8 or something, so it's right on the borderline, right? But when we're looking at this guy's form, that is not a slightly inconsistent form. Trust me, I know because I've played a lot of Football Manager. That is a very inconsistent form, and it must be because he dislikes big matches. I just have to come to that conclusion. Now let's go here and look at the friendlies, and this is what has made up my mind, right? So we had that big break. We had a whole bunch of friendlies. Here we played against Leopard Cat again, and he played the entire match, scored no goals, had a 6.3 rating in a match that we lost. Played against Hongyuan, 6.0, no goals, no assists, right? He played against the Sanjong High School, came on only for the very end and had an assist, right? Well, of course, we're going to win that match. Against the Taipei Skywalkers, another team that we should easily beat, he came on in the 73rd minute, had a goal, right? So he did score a goal once. And then the next friendly against Athletic Club Taipei, he had a 6.0 rating and was just completely awful, right? He did have a 1.00 XG, which tells me that he was probably doing something helpful or something good, but it definitely wasn't good enough. He can't score goals against him, right? That's the thing. We have a striker to score goals. I don't care if he's making great passes and if he's getting guys off balance and doing all sorts of wonderful things. He needs to score goals and not get yellow cards and have no goals scored and a 6.0 rating, right? Now, when we go here and we look at our schedule, we can see just how bad it was, right? So let's see here. That was that league game, remember, against Taiwan Power. Right before that, in the friendly against Leopard Cat, we lost 3-2. Notice that our man Nene did not score. Played again against Leopard Cat, the one we just talked about, that we lost 2-1. Against Sanjong High School, we did win. We won 3-1 against a high school side, right? Against basically an under-18s team. Right? And then we played against Hongyuan, which is a professional side, and we lost 2-1. That was the other match in which Nene played very, very poorly. This match, he came on at the very end against Taipei Skywalkers and scored. We won 5-2. That was pretty simple. Look at who scored 2 goals against him, though, Hu Shichan. And then we had this one against Athletic Club Taipei. Well, you remember that one that we just looked at, and we lost that one 1-0. And then finally, in the end, I don't remember if you played this one or not, but we beat Taiwan Ocean University. Yeah, we beat them barely by a 3-2 margin, right? So I was looking at this during our friendly break and thinking, like, what is going on? How come, in these matches, like, we'll choose one at random. We'll choose this Athletic Club Taipei match. We'll just take a look at, like, the stats, right? We had an XG of 1.91. They had 0.84, right? And you're like, okay, so we're creating chances. I can tell you just by looking at this right here, we're getting all of the passes that we need. We dominated possession. So we're getting the ball. We're holding on to the ball. We're moving it forward into their area. We're doing a better job moving it forward than they did. and yet we still lost 1-0 on their one shot on target, right? So something's going on, and we can go here. We can look at the player stats. I actually didn't look this close because it's an exhibition match. You'll see that we had a whole bunch of guys who had, good matches, okay matches. Chen Chengju had a pretty good match, Some of these guys didn't. I mean, Liu Chunjie is still struggling trying to learn the position. Lai Bolun was the keeper, and we saw in that last one how well he did. He gave up 3 goals against a nothing team in the space of like 10 minutes. Ling Guanda, it's Ling Guanda. I'm sorry, Feng Xiaochi also had a hard match. Remember, he doesn't like big matches. But the rest of these guys actually had a pretty good match, right? Everybody else played well. Everybody else did what they were supposed to, except for the man who's supposed to score the goals, who is Néné Gnaziri, right? That's the problem. That's what I'm talking about, right? If you've watched all these videos, you know by now that I don't actually manage these friendlies, right? I let the computer do whatever because, I just don't have time to go sit down and play 6 matches that mean nothing, right? I hope that you're the same, right? But, when you're looking at these matches after the fact and you're thinking, man, what happened? How come we're losing to teams that we're beating in the league? You look closely and you realize that we're actually dominating these matches. Against Hungary, we had an XG of 2. They had 2 shots on target. Both were goals, right? 67% of the possession belonged to us. They should never have had anything. They're just running a counterattack game against us, and we're losing. But the real reason why we're losing is because our man up front, Néné Gnaziri, can't score a goal, right? And he's up front the whole match, basically, right? Yeah, there were some other bad performances here. Li Chaba had a performance he probably wants to forget. Cai Yuting had a bad performance. And who is this over here? Liu Chunjie, we've talked about before, had a 6.4, right? He's still trying to learn how to do it. He's only 17, right? We'll give him some time. But Néné is just driving me nuts. He's absolutely driving me nuts, right? These are matches against teams that we should, cream. Leopard Cat, that's going to take me over here to, what is it going to take me to? Okay, here we go. Leopard Cat is another team that we should beat. They had 2 shots on target, scored 2 goals. We had 7 shots on target, scored 1. We had 66% of the possession and an XG of 2.36 against their 0.73, right? And the reason why, again, when we look close into this and we try to figure out what's going on is the same thing. It's Néné Gnaziri. Now, Silla had a bad match in that one as well, so we could spread the blame around a little bit. But, Silla having a good match or bad match doesn't really matter when you've got, the big guy up front who should be scoring goals and who we signed to score goals. We didn't bring Néné on for any other reason. It's not because I like players from the Ivory Coast, right? The reason why we brought Néné on is because we need him to score goals, and he needs to score goals. If he is not scoring goals, he is no longer on this side, and he's not scoring goals. So we'll see what happens. We'll take a look over here real quick at the competitions. You can see what I do with these videos. I just sort of do the things I normally would do as I'm fuming to myself. If I'm not talking to you, then I'm talking to the wall, or I'm talking to the window right in front of me, or whatever. My kids get a kick out of it. So the transfer window will open on August 29th. And so that means when we go here and look at the schedule, we do have the whole month of August before we're going to be able to get rid of him. We have not yet done our registration for this, the AFC Cup, East Asia Zone playoff against Guam Shipyard. We should be able to beat Guam Shipyard, right? If we are not winning this match, something is wrong, right? Hopefully I'll be able to actually register players this time, right? So this is like the big test. If I have a hard time registering or something is broken, then there's really something wrong with the save file. We'll see what happens when we get to that point. Hopefully all will work out well, and that will be in, 1, 2, 3, 4 days. We'll have the first leg of that. And we're not going to register Néné for this. We're going to have Kader Bamba up in defense, trying to help nail down the defense for us and see what happens. The thing is, there's a lot of money out there for this, if we're able to get into the actual group round. What's the high here? 500-something euros. If we can get into the proper group round, we will turn our finances around completely. We could probably become a professional squad, like a fully professional team, just by going far into that competition. But I'll tell you what, we're not going to be able to do it if Néné is going to, lay an egg every single time he goes out. He's got to score goals, and that's the way that it is. Anyway, there's a lot of chatter there from me. You might run into a similar situation, right? You might run into one of these weird situations where, you're like, why is this team not scoring anymore? What's going on? That gives you kind of an idea of what to look for and how to break things apart, right? It won't give you all the answers necessarily. And, of course, everybody's circumstance is going to be unique and different. But, when you're looking at your performances, especially in friendly matches, think about things like, okay, who are we playing against? And is there some place here where this player is obviously struggling, right? You can go into further detail if you really want, but I'll tell you that in general, the things that will make your team struggle are things like disliking big matches, inconsistency, and sort of things on that scale, things on that nature. And then if it's not something like that, it might be something like there might be something that the player's upset about that you're not seeing, that's, morale issue that's hidden. Though in my experience, Football Manager doesn't really do too much of that. Usually you kind of know that, yeah, this guy was mad at me because I got upset with him or something like that. But there you go. That's sort of the sort of thing that you really want to be looking for in matches like that. You want to look really close and see, okay, is there something that this player has done poorly, or is there like some pattern that I'm detecting here that shows that this player is playing badly, right? Now, I am a little bit tempted, and we might play Néné again like once or twice before the transfer window becomes open, just so we can kind of get his stock up a little bit, just in case we can sell him. But once that's done, I mean, he's going to be gone. We're going to get rid of him. Hopefully we can get some money for him and just move on. Go with Hu Shichan for better or for worse. We'll see what happens. This is where it gets to be a lot of fun when you're playing with the new gens from the country where there are no good players. Oh yeah, man. That's what it's all about. I'll talk with you again tomorrow. Bye.